most of the time, as I said, we misunderstand the problem and therefore we're looking in the wrong direction for the solution. So let's take just a few minutes up front to understand the nature of the problem. I promise it's going to be worth your while. Now, if you think about it, of all the variety of problems that people have in life, we could kind of distill it down to three categories, at least for the most part. And that would be health, money, and relationship. Don't you agree? And if you think about, again, all of the problems that make up those three categories, it seems on the surface to be an awful lot of things. But actually, and here's my promise to you, strange as it might seem, at the heart of it, it's really just fundamentally one problem. And I'll tell you what that problem is. That problem is that society has taught you that there's something wrong with you, something missing, something deficient, something lacking. And furthermore, society has taught you that in order to solve that problem, you need to seek outside of yourself in order to get the attention, the approval, the validation, the love from others, the affection. You need to get more money, more security, more something. It's always more something, something from outside of you. And then finally, you can feel that you're going to be okay. But as I've already pointed out, that doesn't work because it's not actually the truth. It's a lie. So I'm proposing to you that that is fundamentally the underlying problem. And I'd like to take now a few moments to explore how that problem plays out in each of these domains. So remember, I said most of the problems that people perceive they have can be categorized as problems with money, relationships, or health. And so I want to explore each of these domains and see how this problem plays out. And I made some notes here because I wanted to make sure that I was somewhat thorough in this so that you could understand this and see something of yourself in some of these things. So I hope you'll forgive me for reading from some of these notes. So when you consider relationships, for example, I wonder, do you know anybody who had sibling rivalry when they were children? And if you think about it, what's sibling rivalry? Sibling rivalry is really just a sense that there's something missing in me. I'm not enough. I need to have that validation and approval from my parents so that I can know that I'm good enough. In fact, I'm better than my sibling or siblings. Well, I wonder also, do you happen to know any siblings who continued that rivalry into adulthood? It's surprisingly more common than you might think. And again, it's the same fundamental problem. It's a sense of lack. I'm not enough. I need to know that I'm better than others so that I can feel okay. I also wonder, do you know anybody or have you known anybody who seeks approval from teachers or mentors? It's that classic teacher's pet syndrome. But of course, that's not just exclusively for children in school. It happens all the time. People who are seeking for approval from their mentors, their adult mentors, maybe their bosses. Again, it's just this sense of lack, incompleteness within, and they're looking for somebody else to validate them. I wonder, do you know anybody who over volunteers for church or community organizations or otherwise? I bet you do. And if you think about it, those people are also suffering from the same fundamental problem. They feel there's something missing within them. And if they could just get enough approval from other people, if other people could help to validate them and say, you are so wonderful, you volunteer so much, we really appreciate you, that somehow that's going to fill that void. Of course, it doesn't work. Do you know anybody who has an obsession with academic or professional achievement? I bet you do. And again, it's stemming from that same sense of lack. Oh, here's another one. Do you know anybody who has to always one up everyone else? You know, you have the circle of friends, and it's this person who is always having to have the better story. They know more important people, they know more important facts, they've been to more important places. What do you think that's coming from, other than a sense of lack? Do you know somebody who says yes to everything and they have a general lack of boundaries because they're terrified of conflict? In other words, people pleaser? Same thing, isn't it? It's a sense of lack within. Do you know people who collect others that they're trying to fix or save? Same thing, sense of lack. Do you know people who try to be perfect in order to avoid abandonment? Also a sense of lack. What about people who perceive feedback as a personal attack? Also a sense of lack. What about people who feel unsafe unless everyone else is happy? That's also a sense of lack. What about people who are constantly looking for reassurance from others? Obviously, a sense of lack. And what about people who feel that they always have to be right? Also, a sense of lack. Now, I wonder, can you recognize yourself in any of those things? Now, this is not to judge yourself or condemn yourself. This, I promise you, here is a safe space. Rather, this is about self honesty because only when you're really willing and ready to be honest about these things can you make the change. Because when you're willing to be honest, then you're willing to shine a light on it and finally recognize what's going on. That's a key component to making the change. So just take a moment now and just notice, do you recognize yourself in any of those things? Because if so, good news, you can change starting today.